This presentation provides a brief overview of common fire suppression practices. As a homeowner and CFA volunteer, you should have a general understanding of the practices involved in putting out wildfires. You should also be aware of some of the evolving ideas and controversies around the use of wildfire to accomplish fuels reduction and other objectives. In Oregon, there are thousands of wildfires each year. The vast majority, about 97% in an average year, are controlled before they reach 10 acres or more in size. A few fires, however, burn so intensely that there is little firefighters can do, and they can reach hundreds or even thousands of acres in size. Detection is a critical part of the fire suppression process. The sooner fires are detected, the sooner they can be put out. High mountain lookouts were a key part of the detection process in the past, and some lookouts are still staffed. However, more recently, video cameras have been installed in some of these same locations, and these are remotely monitored, providing a new kit in the detection toolkit. Aerial detection also plays an important role, and after major lightning storms, it's common for airplanes to fly systematically over the affected area looking for smokes. Finally, many wildland fires are spotted and reported by landowners, recreationists, and other members of the public. Once a fire is detected, time is of the essence for effective suppression. Obviously, it's easier to put out a small fire than a large one. Following detection, an estimate is made of the size of the fire, the type of fuels, topography, and values at risk, and one or more fire crews are deployed for the initial attack. The initial attack crew typically includes a fire tender with water and hoses and a crew with hand and power tools. In some cases, the fire can be easily accessed, but in other cases, the crew may need to hike into the fire. For fires in very remote, roadless areas, smoke jumpers may be used. A fire break or fire line is an area where all vegetation and organic matter is removed down to mineral soil, thereby removing the fuel leg of the fire triangle. Fire breaks are, literally, a line in the dirt to prevent wildfires from advancing. They can be built by hand or with bulldozers. Depending on flame length, firefighters employ different tactics to combat a blaze. If the flames are less than 4 feet in length, a fire line can be effectively constructed by hand. If the flames measure 4 to 8 feet, bulldozers and other heavy equipment are needed to build the fire line. When bulldozers are unavailable, fire engines with hoses and water may be used to knock down the flames before fire crews with hand tools can work. Flames from 8 to 11 feet in length are often fought with air tankers with fire retardant or helicopters with water as ground fire suppression efforts become ineffective. Firefighters typically retreat to existing roads, streams, or other open areas for safety. Burnout techniques, also known as backburning, involve igniting fires between the fire line and the advancing fire front to deprive the main fire of fuel. Mop-up is a big part of any fire operation. Once the main fire has been suppressed, there are still often burning stumps, logs, snags, and other fuels that could reignite a fire if not put out. While most fires are put out when they are small, the 3% of fires that get large result in major suppression operations, sometimes involving hundreds or even thousands of firefighters and expenditures of tens of millions of dollars. Fire camps are large and complex operations, and fire suppression is big business. Human life is always the first priority in fire suppression, both of firefighters and of the public. Safety is stressed in training and during fire suppression operation, and crews are constantly evaluating fire conditions and potential escape routes. Nevertheless, firefighter fatalities have occurred in recent fire seasons, prompting a closer look at firefighter safety and proposals for less aggressive attack to minimize firefighter casualties. Property is usually the second priority. This includes homes, outbuildings, and other infrastructure, as well as private property such as timberlands. As noted in the previous module, many fire agencies do not fight structural fires, but may help with suppression in the immediate vicinity of the structure. However, fire agencies will not protect structures when attempting to do so would result in unacceptable risks for firefighters. Preventing damage or loss to resources is another important objective in fire suppression, and for some agencies, resource protection comes in second in priority after personal safety. In some cases, fires may be allowed to burn in more remote areas, such as national parks and wilderness areas. One reason for this let burn policy is that wildfires burning at lower intensities can accomplish much useful fuels reduction and result in other desirable ecological effects. Another reason is that fire suppression in remote areas can be difficult, expensive, and dangerous. The use of these so-called wildland use fires must be balanced with the risk to human lives and infrastructure if the fires were to spread outside of the designated area. As a result, wildland use fires are typically only allowed to burn under less extreme conditions when these risks are relatively low. Another important approach in fire management is the confine and contain strategy, also known as box and burn. The idea here is that instead of taking on a fire directly, fire managers will back off to natural or human-made fire breaks such as roads, ridges, and water bodies, and then set back burns to consume the fuels that would otherwise feed the main fire. This video describes how a box and burn approach was used in a fire in Arizona. Historically, fire agencies have attempted to aggressively suppress all fires, and in most cases they have been very successful in this task. And ironically, this very success has contributed to a buildup of fuels that is a key factor in the increase in fire severity and acres burned in many parts of the western United States. What's the solution to this conundrum? For the wild and urban interface and other locations where homes and human infrastructure are at risk, aggressive fire suppression is likely to remain the default policy. Aggressive fire suppression is also likely to be emphasized on private property and in situations where commercial timberlands, municipal watersheds, or critical habitats are at risk. Meanwhile, in more remote locations, some experts are promoting greater use of wildland fires and confine and contain strategies to accomplish fuels reduction and other ecological goals. One reason for this is that at the current pace of fuels reduction and forest restoration is far short of what is needed to influence wildfire at a landscape scale, so greater use of fire is seen as a more realistic way of accomplishing treatment objectives at a lower cost.